When I was 28, my mother died. She was 61. She died of a heart attack. She was out shopping and she had tightness in her chest. They rushed her to the hospital. We kept thinking, oh, well, she'll get better, she'll get better. And you just don't want to see the truth. This was in the late 70s. Knowing about women and heart disease, absolutely, there was nothing.
On pensait toujours déjà que les hommes avaient plus d'attaques de cœur à cause du niveau de stress au travail, mais maintenant ça change.
Micheline et moi étions ici dans notre maison. Nous avons pris le petit déjeuner. Alors, Micheline voulait aller patiner sur le canal Rideau. C'était une des dernières belles journées de l'année. Alors, moi, je suis allé à mon bureau. J'ai pris mes messages téléphoniques. Un de ces messages-là, c'était Micheline. J'ai resignalé Micheline sur son cellulaire. Et puis, pour la taquiner, pour lui dire qu'elle était bien chanceuse d'aller patiner pendant que fallait que j'aille à une réunion. Et puis, c'est là que je l'ai entendue. Elle respirait très fort. Puis, elle me disait, « François, j'ai de la difficulté à respirer. » Alors, c'est à ce moment-là que j'ai compris qu'il y avait quelque chose de très, très grave.
I used to jog out to my place of work, which is UBC, the University of British Columbia. And that's about a 10K run. And I used to do that 3 times a week. I started to develop a cough. And the cough was always a dry cough. So it didn't seem, and there were no other symptoms. So it didn't seem like a flu. It didn't seem like a cough that one would get with a cold. I was lying down and I felt and heard fluids in my lungs, and it felt as if I were underwater, and it was a rasping kind of sound.
I was young, a little too young to lose a mother. You're 28, you certainly don't think it's going to happen to me. You never think it's going to happen to me. The cardiologist that I went to, he said, you know, I'm really not comfortable. Nothing is showing up on you. Absolutely nothing, but it's like you don't even just have a bad family history, you have a horrible family history. And you're past 50, and you know, like hormonal changes are happening, and I'm really concerned, and would you mind having an angiogram? Hi, where are you? Oh, good, because I'm just on the little bridge. Okay, see you soon, bye.
I took a cab in the middle of the night and went to an emergency room. And so the doctor checked my lungs and he said, well, it seems like there's some inflammation, but it doesn't look like there's anything. It's very dry. It's probably bronchitis. And I went home thinking something's not right. And a few days later, I thought, I'm going to get another opinion. And then I was at the X-ray clinic and the technician was preparing the film and she said, do you have a problem with your heart? And I said, no. And she said, oh, okay, never mind, here it is. So I showed those X-ray films to the doctor and she picked up the phone right away and she called a cardiologist and said, okay, you have an appointment next week, Tuesday. I want you to get your heart checked. The cardiologist took a look at me. Her office was directly across the street from Vancouver General Hospital. And she said, you're not going home, you're going to the hospital. So that's how the story began.
Je pense que l'expérience a été plus difficile pour François que pour moi. Parce que moi, j'ai manqué de souffle, mais après ça, j'ai pas eu conscience de rien, de tout ce qui s'est passé dans les 3 jours. Après, je me suis réveillée, moi, j'avais juste à récupérer.
L'arrêt cardiaque de Micheline, il n'y avait aucun signe avant-coureur, il n'y avait absolument rien. La vie était belle, j'étais au bureau, elle était après patiner. Et puis, dans l'espace d'une seconde ou une fraction de seconde, la vie est changée.
Well, first of all, while he was doing the angiogram, he said, you know, you can watch the screen. And I thought, oh, no, 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 I don't want to watch the screen. If I had watched the screen, I probably would have seen the dye, you know, have the blockages. But so he was inserting, you know, the needle in and into my thigh, and he kept shoving it. You know, it was a kind of a funny motion. And I said, is this supposed to be like liposuction or something? You know, because it kind of felt like that. And that's when he said, you have a 90% blockage, you have an 80% blockage, and a 60% blockage. My daughter cried. I think she was 22 years old.
It was end-stage heart failure. It was extremely serious by the time it was caught. We don't associate young, healthy women with a heart disease.
I think that I certainly thought that it was an older person's disease. I'd have to, you know, if I had to worry about it, I'd have to worry about it at another time. I was fit, I was young feeling, and I didn't feel sick. It struck.
Ça te fait apprécier la vie plus, naturellement. Ça te met consciente des années qui te restent à vivre. Et puis, de continuer à faire du sport pour moi, parce que le docteur me dit que ce qui m'avait sauvée, c'est que le fait que j'étais en bonne forme physique.
You don't want to have a heart attack. You don't want to damage the heart muscle. You want to be able to take care of yourself. You want to live a little longer because you can die with this. My mother lingered in hospital for about 2 months. They said, I don't think she's going to make it. It was hard to comprehend that she was dying. Like, it just doesn't go that fast. It doesn't happen that fast. And my father went in, I went in, my father went back in, and during that time she died. They came out with the brown paper bag with her belongings. And my dad and I left the hospital with a brown paper bag instead of my mom. I guess that was it. Still hard to get used to. Sweetie. Oh, it's good to see you. How are you? It's good. How are you? Oh, I'm good. I'm going to take this arm.
I write to my donor mom several times a year, and she writes back to me. The correspondence is anonymous. I will never know her name. She'll probably never know who I am, but that's okay. She knows I'm up here.